Hey, what's up everybody? It's AJ here with TRAX, and I literally just got my butt off the new 1000 Sportsman Highlifter edition. This is obviously in the XP chassis. I think Luke's already done a walk around of this thing, and he's got the test ride coming up. He's already done it, and it's gonna be online really soon. But I just wanted to give you my opinion of this ATV because, well, I just got off it and I was really blown away. I mean, the mud racing buggy that we've been running for the past many years is a bit of a monster. And so to get on something like this that's a bit more refined, is a lot more refined, is interesting. I was really impressed by the fact that a mud specific ATV like this with such huge tires on it can be so refined. It's actually really comfortable on the trails. Riding to the mud hole, I found it to be so much better than any other mud ATV that I remember riding. So I'm really impressed with what Polaris has been able to put together here. It's got a limiter on it, so it really only does 50 miles an hour. Not really a big deal. I mean, you need that gearing to be that way so that in the mud you can spin the tires. The power steering on it feels much stronger than any other Polaris ATV. High speeds on the road, you know, at that 50 mile an hour range when it's bouncing off the rev limiter, yeah, you definitely feel like it has a little bit too much power steering, but it's not a problem. And when you get it in the mud, this thing steers like single-handedly now, which is really nice. I really like that. It works really good in the mud. I remember riding mud-specific, mud-built ATVs from the manufacturers, you know, quite a few years ago. Luke's done a few of the more recent test rides on them. And I always thought, you know, these things they just don't go all that well in the mud as compared to, you know, something that you build up to go in the mud. And now, I mean, I had this thing, it was deep and it worked great. I backed up through most of the stuff. Like, it was a couple times where I thought, oh, I'm gonna need to use the winch, so I hooked it up top. Didn't need to. This thing, it works incredibly well. And when you want to water wheelie it, I just put it in two-wheel drive and it brings the front end up. The throttle modulation is great. I've got the MBRP exhaust that they just came out with for the Highlifter, for the new version. I've got that on, and so the bike sounds absolutely amazing. Really, really fun to just hear that throttle response. You know, it's kind of noise equals horsepower. I love it. I did notice that the rad on this thing also is staying super clean, which is great because, you know, some of these specific mud ATVs have problems with getting the rads clogged up. This thing stayed really clean, and we had it, you know, pretty buried. Luke also did when he took it out, and it's not overheating. It's really performing the way that it should. And overall, I just really like the way that this ATV looks. I mean, right now, obviously it's covered in mud, but when it's factory fresh and clean, it's got a really nice look to it, very functional. The winch on this thing is up nice and high. I can't even begin to describe how important that is on a mud specific ATV, because you need that winch almost all the time. So to be able to reach down and get to the, you know, to get to the hook and to be able to, you know, release the spool on it and freewheel it, that's super important. You don't want to be digging down all the way to your shoulder and getting mud inside your waders, because that sucks. That's not a good day. Anyways, I'm really impressed with Polaris's offering this year. They're doing a great job. You're going to see the test ride from Luke, and let me tell you, he went out and got dirty. Usually he leaves that stuff to me. This year, he didn't even ask me if I wanted to do it. He just jumped on and went and did it. And I'm impressed, because when he came back, he was, yeah, you couldn't tell who he was, but pretty solid vehicle here. Really impressed with Polaris, what they've done with this XP Highlifter 1000. It's more than just a mud running ATV. You can take this thing out and you can ride it on the trails and you're gonna have fun. Yes, it's geared differently, so you're gonna run out of that top end. Don't expect it to feel like a 1000 XP regular Sportsman, because it's not. Obviously, by the look of it, it isn't, so don't expect it to be that. But all the way up to that 50 mile an hour, it's great, it's fun, really good vehicle. And if you're running it in a lot of mud, don't even question. This thing is great. But yeah, so if you're looking at riding a vehicle like this, 50-50 or even more on trail, don't be afraid. This thing runs really well, rides really good. The suspension is incredible for a mud-specific ATV. It was really comfortable out on the trail. I have no issues with it whatsoever. That being said, if you're a 100% trail rider, don't buy it. But, but if you like running mud, you're gonna have a lot of fun on this thing. Now let me start it up. Again, keep in mind, this is an MBRP exhaust on here. This is not stock, so don't expect these same noises. But I love the way this thing sounds, and when it's in the mud, it's noise equals horsepower. Make sure I put it in neutral first. It sounds real good. Idles real nice. and out on the trail flicking that throttle, it's a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoy it.